All right, so let's try this again. I already made this video, and then my computer decided it didn't want to save it, and so I was getting a little toasty on it, so I had to go get a cooling fan. So shout out to the two students I saw at Walmart just now. Hope you watched this video. All right, let's try this one more time. So factoring day 1, no coefficients. So factoring, what is it? Something scary, right, Miss Camille? No. So what factoring is that we're going to undo multiplication. But what kind of multiplication? Well, we just learned about FOIL, which was basically just multiplication, just of polynomials, right? So now we're going to undo that multiplication of my polynomials. So, not terrible. Different, but not terrible. So today we're going to learn how to undo the multiplication of polynomials. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put the screen up and I'm going to go through. I know you can see yours, but I want to talk about each piece at a time for a reason. So I have the little screen guy up. So first we're going to start talking about undoing the distributing property. So we're used to seeing, give myself a little room there. We're used to seeing something like this. We would know to multiply that 2 in to both of those terms because it's basically multiplication. So what we're going to do is we're going to go opposite. We're going to be given something, in this case, a 2-term polynomial, and we're going to ask to go backwards, and we're going to be asked to divide whatever was multiplied in to be divided out this time. So you're probably wondering how we do that. What we do first is we look for the greatest common factor, or the GCF. So we look to see what can be divided into all of your terms. In this case, I only have the 2. Let me get my highlighter pen going here. So we see when we divide into these numbers that the only number that goes into both 18 and 30 is 30. Okay. Step 2, divide that out from each term. So 18 divided by 3 is 6, 30 divided by 3 is 1. And then write the resulting answer. So whatever I divided out came up front, and what was left stayed inside the parentheses. So typically we're used to seeing, give me a second. We're used to seeing this part and being asked to multiply. Now we're going to do, come on, see this and asked to find it. That we can do it. You'll be just fine, I promise. So first steps first is I'm going to take a look at what can be divided out. Now, sometimes I can divide out numbers, sometimes I can divide out variables, and sometimes I can do both. So if we look at number 1, let's take a look at my numbers. I have 3 and 4. Okay. Can 3 and 4 be divided by something bigger than 1? They can only be divided by 1. I can't make it. I don't have anything that goes into 3 and 4 that's the same besides 1. So let's take a look at my x's now. If you notice, we have x squared and an x. So remember when we were dividing out our polynomials? We had our big long division problems and we liked those. Well, we're going to kind of do that, but we're not going to show that work. Because we should know after learning that if I take out, it's 1 less, or we end up subtracting. So if I divide out an x from number 1, I'm left with 3x plus 4. Not bad. My cat wants to come hang out. So number 2. So number 2, take a look at your numbers. You have 6 and 12. What goes into those? Well, 6 goes into 6 and 6 goes into 12. Because remember, we want the biggest thing. Yeah, you probably were like, 2. You're right. But can I go bigger? Yeah, 3. Even bigger. 6. So I can divide 6 out of both of these. Is that it? Can I divide more than just numbers, or can I divide out x's too? Good. I can take out a 6 and I can divide out an x. So when I take 6x squared divided by 6x, I'm left with 1x. Negative 12 divided by 6x, will just give me 2. Now let's check it. Does it work? If I multiply that guy back through, I have 6x squared. And then 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Bring that x with. Cat tax. Alright, I want you... I don't remember... Okay, we got some problems coming up that I want you to try, so we're going to do these next two together. I'll do a couple more on the next page, and then it'll be your turn to work them out. Cat didn't want to sit in my lap anymore. She likes my full attention. Alright, and these two, we want to ask, can we divide out any... Can we divide out any numbers? No, I got 5 and 3. I can't divide anything out. But I can take out x's. Now, in these first two, we took out just a single x because that's the most I could take out. Once I took out that x, I didn't have any more to work with. But in number 3, I have my smallest amount of x's is 2 of them. So I'm going to take them out because I can take out 2 of this one. So when I take out x squared, I'm left with 5x squared plus 3. My screen's bouncing like that. Here we go. Okay, and this fourth one, I can divide out a 2, and I can divide out an x. So I'm left with 2x. Now, if you notice, I took it out of here already. When I take out of the second, I'm essentially taking 2x divided by 2x. Well, what's 2 divided by 2? What's x divided by x? So that answer is going to be a -1 there. When you divide out everything that you have, it's not that there's nothing else there. You're having one left over. So when you have something, when you divide out essentially part of a whole term, your answer will just turn into 1. All right, let's do a couple of these, and then I'm going to ask you to pause and do your own. So number 5, can I take x's, numbers, or both? Good, just numbers. I can divide out of 4. I'm left with x plus 7. What about number 7? Good, just x's. And I can take out 3. All right, I think we've done all of the other kinds already. So I need you to pause, check these, or excuse me, pause, do these, come check your answers. All right, let me know if you guys didn't get these, okay? Here's your answers again in case you missed them. Sorry, talking a lot. So next what we're going to do is we have seen taking 2 sets of parentheses and multiplying them together and get 3 terms. We're going to go backwards. So we're going to start with the 3 terms and get 2 sets of parentheses at the end. So what we're going to do is essentially, again, undoing that foiling that we talked about. First steps first is we're going to take a look in writing our 2 sets of parentheses, and then we're going to say what multiplies into that first term. Well, that first term in this case today is just going to be x squared. So the only way to get x squared is x times x. So for the first part on all of the rest of the problems, should start with 2 sets of parentheses. The first term, I'm going to highlight that. Give me my highlighter, please. the first term will be x and x. Next, we need to determine the other two numbers, so the -2 and the -3. These numbers will add to get the middle number, so in this case -2, and multiply to the end of -3. So the only thing that multiplies to -3 is 1 and 3. One of them having to be negative because, pause, if you multiply to a negative, the only way they get there is one positive, one negative. So one of those has to be negative. But which one does it have to be in order to add to be -2? Well, if you're already reading ahead, you should see that we're going to have 1 and -3. Ooh, I didn't want to do that yet. Sorry, I wasn't ready yet. So essentially, I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 and that -3 in my empty spots. So they're going to go here and here. And this is going to be how I get those numbers. So if I put the 1, we know that it's positive, so it has to have a positive sign or a plus sign associated with it. And the -3 has to, again, have that minus. So if I wanted to, I could switch around my parentheses to have, switch back to my pen for a second. Come on. There you go. I could have x minus 3 times x plus 1. Because think about it. You can take 3 times 4, or you can take 4 times 3. It doesn't matter, it gets you the same answer. With multiplication, you can move stuff around. So as long as the as long as the 3 has a negative sign and the 1 has a positive sign, it doesn't matter which way I write the parentheses. They're movable. Okay, we're going to try some of these together. I have a couple more on the other page. So we're going to do some, don't worry, we'll be okay. So first steps first, start by writing your 2 sets of parentheses, and the first thing in each set is my x's. That's how I should be sorting all of these problems. Next is I'm going to take a look at what multiplies and adds. So we're going to be multiplying to 6. So the easiest thing to do is to just, what multiplies into 6? We got 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Pretty easy. That's the only numbers I multiply in. All right, now let's take a look at my signs. So I have a positive 6. The only way to get a positive number is 2 negatives or 2 positives. Which one's going to be? Well, that is where I look at the second number for. Can I have 2 positive numbers add to get a negative? Does that even make sense? No. So the only way to have that happen is if both of these are negative. So my sign there are going to be both negative. Okay, now let's take a look at, I have 2 negative numbers. Which one's going to give me 5? Well, if I use the 1 and 6, the only way to get to 5 is -6 plus 1. But that's not going to work because I had to have 2 different signs. So it has to be my second option of 2 and 3. So that's where I get my x minus 2 and my x minus 3. Again, if I switch them, it's not going to change the answer. So if you wrote them 3 then 2, that's fine. Okay, problem number 2. Starting off with my 2 sets of parentheses and my x's. Okay, let's go and see what goes into 28 now. 1 and 28. It's an 8. 2 and 14. 3, no. 4, yep, 4 and 7. 5, no. 6, no. 7. Oh, wait, I'm at 7, so this is all I got. All right, so we got our numbers. So let's take a look at our signs again. Positive, negative. What multiplies to positive? 2 positive, 2 negative. Well, it has to be the negatives because it's adding to that negative number again. So I'm going to have minus and minus. So which set of numbers will get me to 11? Can I get 11 out of 1 and 28? No. What about 2 and 14?
Oh, shit.
I get close, I get to 12, but no. So it's got to be 4 and 7. That's my answer. All right, number 3. I'm going to extend that page a little bit just so I give myself a smidge more room to write with. So start by 2 sets of parentheses and my x's. That should already be done. So let's see what goes into 12. Well, I got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Alrighty. Now, what about my signs? Well, I have a negative. Well, wait a minute. How do I multiply to a negative? 1 negative, 1 positive. It's the only way. So I got a plus and I got a minus. Now, if I'm going to add to this middle number of a positive 1, I want my numbers to be really close together to each other because this minus this should give me 1. Or the negative version plus this should give me 1. Can 1 and 12 get me there? Nope. 2 and 6? Nope. It's got to be 3 and 4. 3 minus 4? Or 4 minus 3? Well, we got to get positive 1. So it has to be 4 minus 3. Now, if you, in the beginning, put your parentheses as a minus first and then a plus, your 3 would have to go first, and your 4 would have to go second. It does matter when the signs are different about where you put which one. The 4 is the only way to be, the 4 being positive is the only way to make that sentence or statement true. If you had the 3 positive, you'd end up with a negative 1, and that's not what I have in the middle. And you broke math. It doesn't work. It's not a real thing. Please don't break math. Please make them real. All right, let's try number 4 together. 2 sets, x and x. Hey, we already talked about 6 before. Didn't we talk about them up here? So then there are 2 sets to go through. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Well, if we're positive and positive, the only way to get to positive with multiplying is 2 positive or 2 negative. For adding to the positive part, it can only be those 2 positive numbers. So, what 2 positive numbers add to 5, but multiply to 6? A lot of people switch up all the time. Good. 3 and 2. All right. Pause. Try these problems. Come back. Oops. I looked at my sign and it didn't register. That problem was fixed on your notes, but not mine. So it can't work with that positive 90. You have to change it to a negative or else it's broken. Math doesn't work. Sorry. All right, I hope you got those answers. And I think that's all I got for you. See you later.